Okay, good afternoon or good morning to everyone, and welcome to this regional session of the 4th Global WOPs Congress on effective capacity development through WOPs and webinars during a pandemic, lessons from Asia. So I'm very pleased to welcome WaterLinks, the moderator and co-convener of this session, together with WOPA, and all the speakers from different countries that have joined to make this a very exciting session, and of course to all participants that are joining today. So let me welcome you on behalf of GWOPA and UN Habitat, and also I would like to share a few in-house keeping information. Now that we are already live, I will try to share to show that we have some functionalities to make the session effective for all of us. So I would like to show the, sorry, I need to share the screen. Let me see if you can see. Okay, I hope you can see the screen. We'll have on the right side of the screen the live translation into English, Vietnamese, Indonesian, Bahasa. So these will be the working languages for today's session. So when you want to, if you want to listen to the translation in the chosen language, you have to click on the live translation. And then you will hear the two languages at the same time, so the Flor language and the interpretation. For that, you would need to click on the window of the speaker with 3 dots, and then reduce the volume of the Flor language, so you will have a better sound for the interpretation. So you will also on the right bottom side, you will see that there is a participants chat. So we encourage you to use the chat to address your questions with the participants. So with this, I would like now to give the floor to Flor, the Executive Director of WaterLinks and very close partner of GWOPA in the Asian region, to start the session. So thank you very much for joining, and I wish you a very productive and interesting session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jose Luis. And good morning to our friends in Europe and Africa, I suppose, if you are here. We have 3 exciting speakers today from the various WOPs that Asia is currently doing, as well as the partners that we are working with in this region. After this, we also have 3 panelists, panel members who will be asked to join to participate in a discussion at the second part of the session. This first part, we will start with a speaker who will, let's start, of course, with the women of this list of speakers. So ladies first, our first speaker is Kristine Jessah Guevarra, who is currently head of corporate planning for Manila Water. She's had over 16 years of experience in various capacities in the water utility sector. She has a master's degree in business administration, as well as a bachelor's degree in environmental science, both from one of the country's most prestigious universities, the Ateneo de Manila University. Without further ado, may I call on Cree to please make your presentation. Jose Luis, at this point, may I request you to share the presentation from your side. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. I'm Guevarra, and I'll be presenting the mentoring experience from Manila Water, for Manila Water. Okay, next slide, please. Jose Luis. So for my presentation, I will start with a brief background of Manila Water, and then the key strategies adopted during the pandemic, highlighting as well the different challenges that we face during the mentoring sessions amidst the pandemic. And then finally, I will end the presentation with lessons learned and some of the best practices that we implemented for us to achieve so much in this mentoring experience. Next slide, please. So Manila Water has grown since it was created. It was created last 1997, 24 years ago. We started as a company that would address the water crisis in Metro Manila via the PPP program of the government in 1997. We started with the Manila East Zone concession as the exclusive provider of water and wastewater services to we started with 3 million customers. We have grown it since to more than 7 million customers. And then, sometime in 2009, we started expanding outside Metro Manila, and we closed projects in the different islands of the Philippines. So now, to date, we have over 18 business units in the Philippines. We've also ventured into the international space, and we are present in 4 countries: Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, and recently in Saudi Arabia. And then, aside from providing water and wastewater services, we have also started with our business venture in innovative solutions via our Manila Water Total Solutions business unit, which offers different products and services. So, all of these accomplishments, the portfolio of Manila Water is built on 4 main capabilities of the company. First is our capability to build big system projects. We often build projects as much as hundreds of millions of dollars worth of projects. And the most recent that we completed in Metro Manila was the pipe laying of a 7 kilometer um, uh, pipeline in the middle of the metro without causing traffic because we did it underground via the tunnel boring machine. Okay, so it was really the first of its kind in the Philippines. And then we are also experts in deep well system operations. So we manage over 500 deep well systems. I think we are one of the major operators in Southeast Asia, and these deep wells serve over 2 million customers. We are also experts in industrial park management, having the major IPs in the Philippines. We cover Cavite, Laguna IP, and then lastly, of course, we have our international operations in 4 countries. Next slide, please. So this is just to show you what the results have been since the PPP was formed in 1997. So from a vicious cycle of having poor service coverage, and then because of that poor coverage, the government can increase water tariffs because the customers weren't really happy with the service. Very low cash flow, so there was not enough money to invest on on improving the services. So at that time, water availability was at 26% at very low water pressure. System loss or non-revenue water was at 63%. So 63% of the supply was really gone to waste through illegal connections or pipe leaks. So the served population then was 3 million. 24 years after, we have now attained 100% water availability at very good pressure, and the non-revenue water is at 13%. And we have now more than doubled our customer base in Metro Manila. And a manifestation of that very efficient management of our water supply, from bringing down the non-revenue water or the system loss from 63% to 13%, we were able to more than double our customer base without actually developing a major water supply. So the same water supply, source that we had in 1997 is the same water source that we're using in 2020. Next slide, please. And this is the whole business footprint of Manila Water. So we are covering much of the water and wastewater service value chain in different country of operations in the Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, and Saudi Arabia. Next slide, please. So I'll move on to our experience, mentoring experience in the middle of the pandemic. So these are the different challenges that we face. Of course, travel restrictions, because mentoring, I believe it would be best achieved, the results would be best achieved if we were on site, having face to face interaction with our mentees. So that was a big challenge for us because we had to do everything virtually. And of course, with the virtual platform, there's always challenges in terms of connectivity or uh, whenever you work from home. So it's not the most always it's not always the most ideal working space. So there could be chances that there could be disruptions in the work from home situation. And then of course the language barrier. It's always been there, the language barrier, but I find it more difficult in a virtual platform because at least when we are interacting face to face, we have the body language that could interpret whatever language barrier that we have. And so, and then lastly, because the mentors, both the mentors and the mentees are also adjusting to the new normal, there's a compounded adjustment impact to both the mentees and the mentors. Next slide, please. So these are the key strategies that we adopted during the pandemic. There are five, so that we maximize our learning platform and achieve as much as we can despite the challenges. So of course, we form dedicated teams for each working area. So there's a dedicated mentor for each working area. And we also revisited activities and agreed on steps and action plans for the remainder of the year because we had to repivot all of our activities and our action plans. And then we maximized and adopted our online and virtual meetings to keep the communication open. And basically, that's it. We had to transform our learning methodology into a virtual one. So for the next slides, I will be discussing some of the key accomplishments per working area. So for the customer service area, for Manila Water, our mentoring strategy is really to build on the concept first and then have a deep dive in terms of ideally we want to have the mentees experience, have a hands-on experience on the topic at hand, and then we can apply. We ask them to apply to their own respective working areas, and then we check the results via quantitative results. So for the customer service, they were given an overview of how we do it in Manila Water, and then DAWACO was able to visit our contact center office to see how things were going, how the operations, the actual operations were, and then there was a series of consultations and discussions on how the WACO could apply the same thing to their operations, their own operations, and then once they got the results, they also consulted and discussed the results with the Manila Water mentor. Next slide, please. Then for NRW management, there was an establishment first on the actual data of the mentee, and it was established in two pilot DNAs that the NRW was at 43% and at almost 30%. So
Sorry,
from
Cree,
that,
please wrap up.
okay, sorry. From that, they were trained on how to do water balance, and then they were able to do calculations in NRW, and then employ zero pressure tests into pilot DNAs. And as a result, they were able to bring down the NRW from 40% to less than 20% in the different DMAs, the pilot DMAs. For asset management, next slide, please. So this was mostly purely discussion because we had to reassess on how it could be implemented in the team of the WACO. So for now, it was mostly just learning sessions on how Manila Water does its asset management. And then lastly, for HR working area, next slide, please. We tackled on the SWOT analysis as well as creating or developing the strategic planning of the WACO, and we also guided them step by step on how they are going to develop the series of KPIs that they are going to monitor, as well as how they are going to strategize based on the prioritization of their different KPIs. Next slide, please. So for my last slide, for the lessons learned, it's been a difficult and challenging experience for both the mentee and the mentors. But if I had to choose two things that we learned from this one, it's really that commitment and dedication to the process are key. So from both the mentor and the mentee. So as described earlier, we identified firsthand what were the expectations from each team. The timelines were clear and the communication lines were very open. There was a detailed understanding of the situation of the mentee so that we could customize our approach, the mentor's approach in addressing the specific pain points of the mentee. And of course, we assess our progress and our accomplishment based on results, similar to what you saw in the NRW results. That's it for me.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Cree. Slightly over, but not too much. So thank you. I wanted to commend both Manila Water and DAWACO because this has really been a very successful WOP in spite and despite of the limitations that Cree had in fact I outlined. So at this point, I'd like to ask from the audience if there is a question that you would like to ask of Manila Water at this point. Kindly write on the box on the right side. But meantime, while I'm waiting for that, I wanted to ask Manila Water, who has been a long-standing partner of WaterLinks. I believe you have been involved with WOPs and WaterLinks since 2009 at the very onset of the organization. So I wanted to ask you, and people always ask this of mentors, what's in it for mentors? Why do you participate in a WOPs? And given the challenges now of the new normal, is it something that you would like to continue with participating as an organization? Thank you, Cree.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Mai. Very good question. Well, if you go back to the purpose and the mission of Manila Water, it's always been to provide better lives and resilient economies through building critical infrastructure, especially water, which is very critical in any community. So we'd like to think that through our mentorship, even if we don't directly reach the area of our mentees, then we have a hand, an indirect hand in the success or the betterment of the customers where our mentees are present. So you could call us as silent cheerers for the success of our mentees. So without directly operating in the areas where our mentees are, we would like to think that we had a hand or we helped in the success or the improvement of the lives of their customers. So I think that's a good thing because when we go back to where Manila Water is centered, it's always a commitment to our service for through.
And so, despite the new normal and the challenges, will Manila Water once again throw its hat in the ring, so to speak, and participate and assist in WOPs in the region?
So this is a collective effort. I'm not the only mentor in this initiative. So obviously I can't answer for everyone. But at the end of the day, we will always look at our purpose, vision, and mission of the company. And as these are the main anchors really of everything that we do, all of our decisions. So as long as it's aligned and to our purpose, then we'll try our best to align it with our leadership team and, of course, our priorities.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Cree. Before I go to the next speaker, and I wanted to also identify the key success factors here that you had outlined. One of it is really the fact that the mentor and the mentees developed standalone teams for each work area, because not one person can be an expert across the board. And you will note that the working areas that have been identified by both partners, DAWACO and Manila Water, are very distinct and separate. So it was quite an interesting way where really you've got separate teams. And so even if we met regularly, it didn't tax each group too much because we were meeting maybe once a month per working area, which allowed then work to be done in between meetings. So thank you once again to Manila Water's presentation. Cree, thank you for that. I'd like to call on our next speaker. Our next speaker is no less than the Managing Director of KWASA, the water and sewerage company of Khulna in Bangladesh. He has been Managing Director of KWASA for the last 12 years. And he has a degree in engineering from Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology. He has a postgrad in engineering from the University of Slovenia, which is the former Yugoslavia, and also has a master's in business administration. He's had over 34 years of experience in public utility organizations in both the energy and water sectors. So without further ado, I call on Mr. Mohammad Abdullah, Managing Director of KWASA.
Thank you very much.
To make your presentation. Thank you, sir.
Good morning and good afternoon to all of you. So I am going to present on effective capacity development through WOPs and webinar during the COVID-19 pandemic. So my first slide, I show the partnerships involved under this WOP. Khulna Water Supply and Sewerage Authority, that is KWASA, of Bangladesh as mentee, and PDAM Kota Surayabaya of Indonesia as mentor, and WaterLinks as facilitator. During the diagnostic visit by the mentor along with the facilitator undertaken in December 2019, and mentee's visit not undertaken due to lockdown for COVID-19. And also due to COVID-19 situation, all works has moved online. And after this diagnostic visit, actually 2 working areas were identified considering on priority basis. Number 1 area is non-revenue water management with 2 pilot sites with a total of around 3,000 connections, and second area is the customer accounts management. So under the working area, One, the technical activities selected as two areas as pilot sites, Tutpara and Bastohara, for all required activities. The principal objective is to reduce non-revenue water in the pilot sites, thus to increase revenue and improve water quality and deliver better service to customers. Here, regarding the better customer service, it was prominent to work for ensuring not to contaminate due to pipe leakage under these DM areas, and also the water supply was done as per requirement of pressure and flow of the demand of customers. So main activities under this working area: confirmation of DMA boundaries, fully established one DMA in each pilot site, and fully established one DMA in each pilot site, and conduct zero pressure test and perform active leakage control, that is customer survey for two DMA areas, and also leak detection for DMA pipe network, and monitoring of NRW levels periodically, and then development of standard operating procedures for DMA management. There is a working area 2, the financial activities undertaken, the customer accounts management. The principal objective is to shift from manual meter reading to the use of meter reading apps to increase accuracy as well as efficiency, and also update and clean up current customer database to improve collection efficiency of customer billing. Main activities undertaken in this working area: use of smart meter reading apps for customer meter reading collection, updating list database of KWASA customers in pilot DMS, and cleanup of inactive customer accounts and development of aging of account system, procurement of smart meter reading apps along with smartphones, and also procurement of software for online posting of customers' bills payment. So now I am going to focus on the achievements from working area 1. So KWASA established 2 pilot DMS in Tutpara for 1,919 customers, and second DMA is Bastohara for 950 customers. So online training conducted by mentor on DMA design, network understanding, installation of data logger, boundary valves, meters, pressure meters, etc. And KWASA also prepared GIS maps showing pipeline network, location of meters and boundary valves, and sent to mentor for review and confirmation of these prepared GIS maps. Online training conducted by the mentors on calculation of water balance for pilot DMS following International Water Association principles, and develop also standard operating procedures for these 2 DMS, and webinar and online training on zero pressure test by the mentor for KWASA team. So here in the pictures were shown that during the leak detection test, KWASA team working in the field, and these also help through online and webinar training. Next is the continued achievement of working area 1. Here, the formation of KWASA non-revenue water team consisting of 19 members and surveyed all customers and meters in pilot DMA areas to ensure proper meter reading. And KWASA also purchased of pressure meters, batteries of flow meters, arranged data logger and dedicated PC for analysis and repairing of reporting of NRW, and also all training arranged by the mentor have moved to online, which was directly facilitated by WaterLinks. Example, how to select and check boundary valves, flow meters, then well valves and meters in pilot DMS, leak detection and repair. Created groups in online communication platforms for ease of communication, that is WhatsApp and Facebook, due to pandemic situation. And in the left side, we have shown that in the bottom part, we have seen input valve 1, input valve 2, that is in the deep well and also from reservoir water supply. And in the next 3 pictures, boundary valve 1, boundary valve 2, and boundary valve 3 for our DM. And finally, the achievement of this working area, thus reduction of NRW, actually reduced from 34% to 12% under these 2 DMA pilot areas. Now we are going to show achievements in working area 2. There is online training on meter reading application, regular online meetings to resolve issues encountered, particularly difference in software platforms between mentor and mentee server system. Actually, it was a very important issue which we had to resolve after several online meetings, because KWASA system operating system was Microsoft Windows system, and our mentor, that is system, was operating system was Linux, and KWASA database system was SQL, whereas mentor's system was Oracle.
MD, please wrap up. Thank you.
Okay. So now I'm going to show the procurement of smart meter reading apps and smart meter phones, online posting of customer bills, software with funding support from OFID grant, and currently applying smart meter reading apps for 4,500 customers in the month of September 2021, and online training of preparation financial reports, bill collection, analysis of customer payment patterns, and KWASA also prepared reports identifying the current month's payment and payments against the outstanding months, and KWASA identified 1,849 inactive customers in November 2019 and 628 customers in June 2021, and removed these inactive customers from current customer database. Now we are going to show the success factors for the implementation of this OP. KWASA authority was very enthusiastic and committed to implement all activities identified by mentors. Mentors, PDAM, Kota, Surayabaya, and facilitator WaterLinks provided KWASA continuous support and cooperation throughout the process. There is online meetings, training, including fieldworks through online communication platform. WOPs, financial assistance like grant fund and online monitoring for implementation of the OP. Commitment of KWASA staff, particularly technical team, IT persons, relevant officers, responding to technical and financial requirements of the OP to ensure its success. Lastly, I am going to show the challenges encountered and lessons learned during the implementation of OP. Lack of technical capacity in KWASA on DME management, leak repair, and meter installation, resulting in high NRW, improper meter reading and ICT application on meter reading, insufficient information on inactive customers' accounts. Due to COVID restrictions, online training and meeting, so due to pandemic COVID-19, field works, that is zero pressure test using online communication platforms, using WhatsApp and Facebook group. Customer survey conducted by KWASA team by wearing mask and gloves, keeping social distance, and using hand sanitizer. Finally, it became possible to conduct a successful zero pressure test, use meter reading apps, online posting of customer bills, even just with online guidance from mentors, and regular follow-up by the WaterLinks to ensure mentors and mentees submit work on time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, MD. Again, I would like to ask our friends in the audience if there are any burning questions. But if none, I have a question for you, sir. Do you think, MD, that the pandemic restrictions hampered the partnership in trying to achieve the targets that were identified during the diagnostic when life was normal? And I ask this specifically of KWASA because, unlike the rest, you are the only ones who were not able to visit your mentor site. So, as Cree was earlier saying, there's a process. You go to the mentors go to you to do a diagnostic, but it would be helpful if you could come to the mentor's site to see how it is being done. In your case, you were not able to do this. So, do you think this hampered your ability to meet the targets? MD.
Thank you very much. Actually, although due to COVID restrictions, we had to actually uh, undertake these online trainings, even fieldworks online. But due to the sincere effort from mentor as well as from facilitator, our KWASA team members were also very active to learn the issues, that is the activities we have selected under these two areas, particularly NRW management and also customer support management. But one thing we feel that if the mentor could have visited physically, probably we could have learned a bit more than we have learned through online facilities. And lastly, I would like to mention that the mentee team could not visit the mentor utility. So if it could be made possible, I think the KWASA team will get that opportunity to learn more by seeing what is actually the improvement situations going on in the mentors utilities. So this is my comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, MD. And that's really most unfortunate. What is unfortunate is you were not able to visit, but what is fantastic is that despite that, both you and PDAM Kota Surabaya have been able to really achieve a lot in both the working areas that you have identified. So I am hopeful that before the year ends, that you will be able to visit your mentors in Indonesia, hopefully when travel is a little eased in the region. So thank you very much, MD. I also would
Thank
like
you.
to I also would like to state that you are about the most active managing director that we have come across. Managing Director Abdullah has truly been involved every step of the way. All the meetings involved him and all the activities involved him. So thank you very much, sir, for that, for your commitment to the process. Okay, so I would like to call now another partner of Waterlinks in the person of Xylem. And Xylem is neither a mentor nor a mentee. They are, in fact, a company that specializes in water technology solutions. We have with us today the Vice President and Managing Director for Southeast Asia, who is responsible for driving business across Xylem's wide portfolio of water technology solutions, including a new portfolio of decision intelligence tools. His name is Chong, and Mr. Ko has earned a master's of engineering in aeronautics and astronautics from no less than the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And he has lived and worked in Germany and the United Kingdom. Chong, if you are around, please share your presentation and turn on your video as well. Chong?
Yes, hello, good afternoon and good morning. I hope you can hear me well.
Yes, now we can hear you. Chong, before you start, I didn't realize you're from MIT. My God.
Oh.
Okay, please. Chong, go ahead.
Okay.
I just had to say that.
Thank you. So thank you, Mai, for the kind introduction, and thank you for this opportunity. So my name is Chong, and what I'll do today is to share with you our partnership with WaterLinks in the form of webinars that we have organized, and also to share with you beforehand a bit about Xylem so that you can see the context of this partnership. So let me just frame the presentation first with an overview of the key water challenges that all of us are facing and where we resolve to find solutions for. The first challenge is really on scarcity. Scarcity means not being able to get water, clean water, to the population, either due to lack of infrastructure or due to disruption of supply. It could be due to climate change, flooding, and so on. So many people cannot get access to clean water today. The second challenge is on resilience, the ability to anticipate, predict, plan for, and respond to any kind of emergencies that would disrupt water supply. And again, this could be any manner of natural disasters, earthquakes, floods, typhoons, heavy rains, or water contamination. So how does a community or country be able to respond whenever they face such challenges? And the third, also very important challenge is on affordability. Many governments have constrained budgets, so it is a challenge to build new infrastructure, maintain existing infrastructure, and also find out where all the leaks are in terms of losing revenue that could have been used to maintain or grow the investments. So first, let me start with a bit of Xylem. So Xylem, as Mai mentioned, is a global water technology company. We are now about $5 billion in revenues, and we are represented in all around the world, including in Southeast Asia. So as a water technology company, we have solutions that span the entire water cycle. So if you look at the bottom, from the source of the water, from rivers, oceans, lakes, we transport the water from these sources to a water treatment plant where we can treat the water, test the water quality, and then deliver it to the users. And the users will be in buildings, infrastructure like airports, train stations, or industries. After the water is used, you get wastewater, and again, the wastewater needs to be collected and channeled back to the treatment plants to be treated safely before the water gets back into the source. So what we have are all kinds of solutions along this whole water cycle to solve each specific problem along the way. And overlaying all of that, we have a platform, a digital platform to track and monitor what's happening to the water, where's the water flowing, what's the water quality, and how do utilities respond. So we work with our customers to offer this entire suite of solutions. Our solutions actually come from a very long history, all the way back to the 1800s, through acquisitions of many brands. And throughout our history, we have actually introduced many firsts to the industry. For example, in 1947, we introduced the first submersible pump. In 2005, long before non-revenue water became popular, we already had or introduced invasive leak detection solution. In 2008, we already came up with a wireless network to help monitor and access water meters around a city or an area. And most recently, we have introduced ultrasonic water meters for both industrial and gas usage. And that's highly accurate with no moving parts. So now coming to our partnership with WaterLinks. So what we have done so far, we have organized a series of webinars addressing the most topical areas of interest as expressed by the market and our customers, with the intention of sharing best practices, sharing the latest technologies and developments, and also having a conversation with our partners on what can be done, what cannot be done, and how can this adapted to their respective contexts. So we have spoken about digital transformation, we have talked about detecting leaks and pipe bursts, we have spoken about reducing apparent losses, that means losses due to theft of water, unauthorized usage, or water meters that are not reading properly. We talked about smart metering systems, and we talked about artificial intelligence for real-time plant operation. So let me now give you one example of a webinar we did. So this one is on digital transformation for water utilities. We did that back in September last year. We had our own in-house speaker, Dr. Mudassar Iqbal, who is a PhD in computer science and also a young water innovator from my university, the MIT. And he spoke about the latest solutions that we have to monitor leaks in real time and remotely, and how different water utilities are making use of this technology to solve their water problems in Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, and the Middle East. When we track the participants, so for this specific webinar, we had 118 participants, mostly from Southeast Asia, but also some from around the world. And if you look on the right in terms of the split of where they come from, a big majority are public and public water operators, quite a number also from non-governmental organizations. And we also had participations from government, from academia, and from the private sector. So when we did a survey or poll at the end of the webinar to ask how did they feel about the material and about digital technology, we got very positive responses, meaning that the audience felt comfortable working with digital transformation, which was the topic of that webinar. So why did these kind of webinars work? Well, most importantly, we had a network and access to public operators through WaterLinks. So we were able to attract a relevant pool of audience into the webinar. Second, we were able to put together the right information in terms of what's topical, what's on the mind of our partners, bring in the right speakers and the right audience, and also present it at the right time, meaning when it's most relevant to the specific audience. We were able to attract a pool of passionate speakers and experts to present during these webinars. And we also were able to collect data in terms of what are the real problems facing the audience in our respective markets so that we could tailor our messages accordingly. Information that we have or we presented were actionable, meaning people can actually do something about it. We provided case studies, and we also publicized all this in social media. In terms of learning points and challenges, I think it's really about how to keep audiences engaged, because they are all experts, they are busy people, so we have to tailor the messages in an interesting way and a relevant way for them to be able to take away some key messages. So I will end my presentation here with a slogan that Xylem likes to use. We call it an opportunity of a lifetime. Let me explain. What we feel is that actually today, all the technologies we need to solve the water problems that I described are already available. They are available somewhere around us, somewhere in a company, in an academic institute, or in a government somewhere. And it's really up to us to be able to access and harness and integrate these technologies to make use of it to solve the water problems. So within our lifetimes now, today, we can already solve these challenges, and it's really up to us to make use of this opportunity of a lifetime to try to solve these problems. So with that, I leave you with my presentation, and I'm open for any questions.
Thank you very much, Chong Hin, and within time at that. I wanted to point out to the audience that in fact all of the webinars were very well received. Chong Hin only showed you a snippet or a sample of one of them. In fact, the non-revenue water one was the most popular, with over almost 200 participants for that particular one. So you're absolutely right, Chong Hin, when you say that because we carefully curated the topics and the speakers, then we really were able to meet what the audience were looking for. But tell me, I mean, your the products of Xylem are obviously more on the high tech kind, right? And you know very well that that kind of technology requires a base set of data, and you know as well that in developing Asia, as you have seen in the various participants to the webinars, that there are a lot of challenges when it comes to data acquisition or data or information that is available. So tell me, how does Xylem, or how will Xylem help these utilities bridge that gap between the kind of data that is required and the technologies that are available?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Yes, I'm very well aware and sensitive to this challenge, living in Southeast Asia and talking to many customers around this region. What we know for sure is that in this country, in this region, we really need tailored solutions. Every country is on a different path of their journey. Some are more advanced, some are starting to learn. So we have to make sure that what we provide to the customers is relevant, is implementable, and is also something that their own employees can manage. So we're starting with all these webinars where we start with education. I think the next thing we are trying to do now is to try to tailor-make solutions, meaning that we don't try to prescribe that, okay, please use this ready-made Xylem solution, but rather, okay, what is the problem you are trying to solve, and how can we best do it? Can we do it through third-party equipment or sensors, for example? Can we put together something in terms of a software or a mobile application that allows you to easily access your equipment or the challenges? And also for our own people on the ground, can we also make ourselves more accessible to our customers in terms of our service network response time, so that whenever a customer faces a problem, they know who to talk to and who to call. So it is a journey. We are trying our very best to customize and tailor what we have to the specific requirements of each country and each customer.
You are unmuted. You are unmuted.
Sorry. Okay.
No
Sorry.
problem.
Thank you very much, Chong Hin. Well said. I wanted to ask if there's anyone else who would want to ask a question of any of the speakers at this point, from any of you who are with us this afternoon. Do let us know. I'll give you a few seconds to react, but if not, I would like now to introduce the panelists that we have this afternoon. Okay, that's enough time, I think. Jose Luis, may I proceed to the panel?
Yes, please go ahead, Mai. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have three panelists this afternoon. I will introduce them briefly. The first one is Ari Bimo Sakti, who is the IT manager for PDAM Surya Sembada Kota Surayabaya. They are the mentors of KWASA of Bangladesh, whom you've heard earlier. Bimo has worked with the PDAM since 2009, and really his expertise would be on project management, IT governance, IT security, business analysis, as well as public relations and corporate social responsibility. The second representative panelist we have is someone from DAWACO, or the Da Nang Water Company, the water supplier of the city of Da Nang in Vietnam. She is Letty Hong Van, or otherwise just Miss Van for short. She's currently the Deputy Manager of Communication and Shareholder Relations Department. She has worked with DAWACO for 26 years. I didn't realize this, Miss Van. She has a commerce degree from Hanoi University and has majored in finance and accounting. And finally, but not the least, we also have with us from SUEZ, India, is Dr. Sandeep Mahajan, who is the solution expert and heading digital, geospatial, and water resources. He is the water resources management expert of SUEZ, India. He has had over 19 years of experience in this field, and presently working as the head of GIS and Digital Solutions Division of SUEZ India since 2013. He has an master's in remote sensing, a master's in geography, and a PhD in water resources management. So my question to all of you my question first to Bimo and to Van, because you are as a mentor and mentee respectively. You see that WOPs has now evolved given the new normal. My question to you is, how do you see this WOP evolving given the pandemic, and do you see it changing for good like this, or is there hope to go back to what we used to be? Let me ask Ms. Van first. Ms. Van? Oh, did I lose you? I think you're muted. Unmute, please.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you for your question. I think for the WOPs, DAWACO has learned a lot. And you may note that Da Nang turned to the new wave of the COVID-19, and we now changed to the new normal. And for me personally, I think we use the method as we've used up to now is useful for our DAWACO as a mentee. And I think you can continue with these methods, and we can follow you for the future. I think so.
Thank you, Ms. Van. I think what we have learned together is that even with fewer visits, but there is more interaction online, we are still able, I guess that's what you're driving at, we are still able to do the work. But I also agree with MD Abdullah when he says we still cannot do away with visiting. It can never be that it's just online this whole time. And I hope GWOPA is listening to that, Jose Luis. Okay, so Bimo, same question for you. How do you see the WOPs evolving? And do you think it's still worth your time to participate with the new, evolved nature of WOPs? Bimo, same. You're muted. Unmute, please, Bimo. Bimo, you're muted. Bimo, please unmute. Oh, technical difficulty.
Bimo, we can't hear you.
Bimo?
Bimo,
He said
do you see the icon with the microphone? Yes, and you're clicking on
He
it and
cannot
it's
turn
not
on the
opening.
mic. He says he cannot turn on the mic. Oh. Ivey, I don't think you can unmute him, no? You mentioned you cannot.
No, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so
Maybe
that
Bimo, I would suggest that you refresh
right.
your screen, and try to come in again. Maybe that will
better.
help. In the meantime, probably Mai, you may proceed with the other
Yes.
panelists.
Yes, thank you. So while waiting for Bimo to refresh, I wanted to ask Sandeep, and Sandeep has a special question from me because the experience of SUEZ is also very unique. So SUEZ India, for the first time, had participated to be a mentor for Chittagong WASA in Bangladesh. And sadly, that did not turn out too well because of the extreme difficulty that Chittagong WASA had faced during the pandemic. So my question to Sandeep is is this uh, will this experience deter you from, when I say you, Suez, from participating in WOPs in future? And number two, do you have any suggestion for us to improve perhaps the mentee selection process?
Thank you very much, Mai. Uh, I hope I am audible.
Yes, but there's an echo.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. For me also there is some echo. Now it's okay, I think. Yeah. So yes, my first of all, I would like to congratulate GWAPA and WaterLink because I personally feel means it's a very good program which you started, and it's a mentor and mentee interaction was very good. And coming back to your question, yes, it's a bit difficult to be always online and interacting with the mentees, but it's a new normal. We have to live with it. My suggestion is whenever we are starting this program as a mentor and as a mentee, so we should have a few prior interaction with them, and we can understand means what is their problem, what solution they may already have, but they are not able to do that. So if we get these preliminary information in advance to starting these programs, so that will help us to design in much better way. Means it's my personal opinion. Means you all are the expert in this.
No,
Yeah.
thank you, Sandeep. In fact, if I may share, our colleagues in Africa, and I learned
Hmm.
this only a few weeks ago, does have a process similar to what you are suggesting, which I think is needed,
Yes.
where they are able to visit, not to do a diagnostic, but to first check the situation on the ground. And it's a data gathering exercise, so to speak. It also
Absolutely.
allows them to better understand the situation of the mentee and what kind of expertise they really will benefit from the most. So absolutely, I agree with that, with your suggestion. And since Jiwopa is here, I also would like you, Jose Luis, to take that information forward in the future design of WOPs, that a visit ahead of time before diagnosis to be done by potential mentors and facilitators to at least better understand, engage commitments as well as current staffing requirements, perhaps. I mean, in the case of Chittagong, they were very, very busy with so many large projects, and that really affected their ability to focus on the walk. So these are some of the things that is really a learning process for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Means they want to do a lot, but despite of this COVID and their busy schedules, lack of resources, so we were not able to do that. But
Absolutely.
I'm hopeful for the future, and
And I hope
let's.
that SUEZ will continue to assist and help when we call. Right, Sandeep?
Yes, yes, sure, sure. Means
Thank you.
you can
Okay,
get
so
that
let's
assurance
see
from at least my side.
from
Huh?
you. I'll take it. I'll take it. Okay, so Bimo, at
Thank
this
you.
point, thank you very much, Sandeep. Bimo, can we hear from you on the question
Yes.
of the new normal?
Yeah. Uh, Thank you for all. Good afternoon. I think the important thing for the successful of this mentor and mentee, I think the most important is the passion and spirit from mentor and mentee to handle the challenge of the COVID, so we can go on site and we cannot the mentee cannot come to the mentor, but with the good coordination and the support from the top management, it already happened. And I would like to say thank you for Mr. Abdullah. This support is very good. uh, all the things that we usually go on site to check up the DMA, to check up the non-revenue water. We Now we can do it using WhatsApp group on any communication device, and we have a small group that we can do the a video call to do the check up on the site. Uh, I think the very important thing is good coordination and the passion and spirit between mentor and mentee. That's right,
Thank you.
May.
Thank you, Bimo. I wanted to also at this point, if Cree is still around, I wanted to point out that there were two working areas that are new to us even in WOPs. And these are asset management and human resources development. Because traditionally, we only tackle the technical things like non-revenue water and the usual, or sanitation, um, intermittent supply, things like these, which are highly technical. But I would call the soft side of the business, which are also very important, human resources development and asset management, were really, really new. And Miss Van is here. I'm saying it's new even to DAWACO, right? So, Creed, do you think that these two had a little bit more difficulty because they're new, and the mentee is not too familiar with it, and then we get into this new normal, which is an added layer of difficulty. What is your thoughts on these specific two topics?
Okay. Thanks, Ismay. I'll start with the HR component, but specifically HR in terms of, we called it HR, but the components would be strategy formation as well as KPI formation. So That was it wasn't as difficult because we were aligned in terms of when we were describing the process, the mentee was able to relate to it. It just had a different terminology. So that wasn't as very difficult because we were able to find the common themes between the and the mentee, and we just had different terms for it, and we had to really um, uh, guide the mentee on the step-by-step process until we were able to come up with a workable output. So, in terms of target setting, KPIs, and we even did the SWOT analysis. We had to go back and check on the strengths and weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of the company. And then, but for asset management, that was a bit difficult because um, we had concepts that we could share, but the mentee wasn't organized in a similar manner that was ready to accept the concept. So during my presentation, I outlined that for management, we were able to do learning on the concept, but we will wait for the mentee if they're going to adjust or they're going to form a different team that will handle asset management. So there. So
Thank you.
there's
Thank
both.
you.
Yes.
Yes, I agree with what you said. So I'd like to get the reaction of Van. I know, Miss Van, this is not the work area that you worked in, but I don't know how familiar you are, particular to asset management, because it's really a new concept for DAWACO, and we felt that there's a little bit more that's needed to be done before we can even progress to the next step. So what do you think? Um, no, you're muted. Please unmute.
Yes. Sorry. That's not my aspect. But as far as I know, Mr. Tong, who the guy who is responsible for asset management working area, he has been positioned to another.
Another
Um,
area
he's
Another
more
one?
Mr. Tong.
has moved.
Yes, moved to another. He has moved to the waters enterprise. So he's not in the water productions enterprise. He's in the water supplies enterprise. So it's
Right.
very difficult for the asset management team to complete their activity. And as Curie said, the assets management is quite new for us, so we may take a long time for us um, to look through the concept from the Manila water, and I think that the asset management team may working on that at the moment, and
Thank
they will give you the answer soon. I think so.
thank you, Miss Van. And that's also the difficulty, you know. People get moved because it's been quite some time. It's already been 2 years, and
Yes.
also in asset management, you need the whole gamut of members, not just the team itself, but the finance department, the planning department, and all the other departments, which is something new for frankly for utilities and even for Waterlinks. To be very honest, it was the first deep dive that we did with the working area on asset management, and we've learned a lot. I must say, Manila Water was an excellent mentor in this respect. But you're right; it would need more support, and it would have been better if there were more visits in this respect. So yes, thank you for that. Any of you speakers also have any questions to each other? Please feel free if you do have questions to So I'm not the only one asking the questions. So it's very clear, I think. So people have no further questions.
I have a question, Mai,
Yes,
if I may. Yes? Okay, very good. Well, this is also a question and mostly an appreciation for the efforts that both the mentors and the mentees have shown under these strenuous circumstances to continue to work in spite all technical challenges and trying to transform the model of a face-to-face, on-the-job learning experience into a completely virtual and new area of work. And I think that there is a lot that GWOPA has to learn from this model because, as you said, Mai, we still don't know what the nature and the format of WOPs will look like in the future. Maybe these are the first examples of a new model that will probably combine elements from the old traditional way of doing capacity development and the new one using technology. And there is something that I think was very important that was mentioned by Bimo. It's about the use of communication tools and communication devices. I think we should systematize the way that different teams from different departments can have access to a central repository of information and communication. And of course, these are things that were improvised during the implementation, but I think that together we can learn from your experience and be able to come up with a methodology for data exchange and daily communication that could be most efficient. So this is an appreciation. Now the question is, if you could go back 1.5 years back at the beginning of the crisis, what would you like what would you have liked to have as resources and in order to start working efficiently? So how would you see an ideal set of tools and methodologies to help you work in a virtual environment or a hybrid environment? So that would be my question for both mentors and mentees. Thank you.
So who would like to answer that from any of the speakers and panelists, mentors and mentees?
So maybe I can take this opportunity.
Yes, please. Sandeep.
Yeah. So means if we go back 1.5 year back, means in the starting of the pandemic, so that point of time there is a lot of new tools and technology, especially for virtual interaction. And I found few workshops where we are using that klaxon and all these kind of tools where we can have interaction and that from the both side uh, participation is much more easy. Means we can take their views online, they can participate in the small exercises, workshops like small kind of quizzes. So that is very interactive way, and that will make more fruitful after that this virtual environment.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandeep. Anyone else? Well, one of the things, yes, please, Bimo.
Yeah. Uh, when we came back 1.5 years before the pandemic, I think we should have for the next project we should have like a simple groupware communication might be like a simple uh, communication pool. So all of document, all of conversation, and all of uh, maybe video call or and all of things that we have to do the project. We pull in the one group where communication.
Thank you. I think we tried to do this before, Jose Luis. GWOPA had a platform to do this, but somehow it wasn't so well understood and not well used. It's called, I forget now. Yoli, what was it called?
It's
Not
called
the
the
market,
workplace.
workplace. Not the marketplace, but the
No, no,
workplace.
no. It's the workplace. But for your information, very, very few of both the mentor and the mentees visit the workplace. So at the end of the day, I have to resort to, sending all the emails instead of communicating into the workplace.
So maybe in response to Bimo and to Sandeep's suggestion, if we could find a common platform that is already being used, I mean, no need to reinvent the wheel. The reason Workplace was not popular is because it was yet another layer to understand. But if we use the common platforms like Zoom and WhatsApp and the basic ones that we are all familiar with, then let's not try to redevelop the whole thing and make use of tools that are already being used commonly. Okay. Anybody else on that question? Okay. For me, I'd like to ask Chong Hin a question in respect of the future of webinars. Do you think that are people now tired of webinars? Do people now want to really go somewhere and learn? What do you see from where you're sitting?
Um, I think it's both. On one hand, all of us now are so comfortable working online using Zoom or other platforms that it's actually quite convenient now to schedule in a webinar in between meetings. So I could have meetings all day and maybe 1 hour I allocate to sign into a webinar and learn something. Whereas in the past, I would have to allocate the whole day, travel somewhere physical, and then sit down and just listen through everything, right? So webinars allows me, I guess, more information and education or engagement on demand. But what we miss is really the face-to-face interactions, the networking, and all the good stuff that comes with just connecting on a human level. So I think it's good and bad. I am also sometimes getting quite tired, but I think it's necessary. But I definitely look forward to the day where we can all just meet somewhere and connect face to face.
Couldn't have said it better. I agree. By the way, Sandeep, I'm trying to get to India and you won't let me because you are not open until November 15th.
I'm very
So we
sorry
shall
for
see.
that. Huh?
We shall see. Your ambassador says that you will open on November 15. And Chong Hin, Singapore is also closed. They don't want me either. So can't visit that too.
Yeah,
And
a few
Bimo,
more
the
months or
same.
weeks.
The same with Indonesia and Vietnam. They don't want us.
I think
So I'm
Australia
still
is
really
okay.
hoping that MD can visit you and we can visit you in Indonesia before the year ends. Right,
Yeah.
MD?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
with that, I think we have gotten enough information from all of you. Have we squeezed them out
Yeah.
of all the info we wanted, Jose Luis? By the way, this session will be replayed because unfortunately, this is not a good time for Europe and Africa and Latin America. So hopefully, uh, people will come back to the replay version of this particular session.
Yes, thank you, Mai. Well, thank you, everyone. I think this has been a fantastic session, very rich in knowledge and it's very glad to hear from Asian experiences and how great you are doing. And this is also all very inspiring for the international community. So thank you so much. And thank you to WaterLinks for its continuous dedication to promote WOPs, to facilitate and make WOPs a better instrument, a mechanism to improve the work of utilities in Asia. And thank you to all the participants. It's been a pleasure. And I would like to invite you. Oh, I hear clapping hands.
I like that.
One of the nice features of eBay is a platform. I would like to invite you all to join GWOPA as members. I think we will share a video, if not now, this will be for sure posted in the Congress, about how you can join the community and get access to the information and news that GWOPA is providing through the membership platform, out of which Workplace is one of the tools that were developed. And of course, everything is perfectible, and the GWOPA team is really working very hard to make Workspace a useful tool for communication and WOP implementation. So we take note of your comments, of course. We always want to improve. So thank you once again, and have a nice evening in Asia. And
thank you.
Please say the final words, please.
No, I just wanted to thank as well all our partners, our mentors, our mentees. And you guys have really been very supportive of all the work and committed to the whole process, in spite and despite of the lockdowns. I truly wish, as Chong Hin rightly said, that at some point soon we get to meet physically and at least share a coffee, if not a meal, outside of all of these crazy things on the pandemic. It too shall pass, as we all hope.
Yeah,
on that,
we all became more resilient after that.
Thank you.
By the way, I was told that a video will be shown now with information on closing video with information about how to join the community. So
great, and I wanted to try this function.
And I will share my clapping hands as well. Okay.
Okay. All right. The video.
Thank you so much. And please let the video in.
Thank you.
What? Already over?
No, we have plenty more options to continue the discussions and peer exchange beyond the Congress.
Tell me more. What are the options?
Well, GWOPA membership, for example. By becoming a member of GWOPA, everyone can connect to a global alliance of practitioners and experts. There are two ways of becoming a member. First, institutional members. Institutions can participate in GWOPA's assemblies and are eligible to run and vote in its international steering committee elections. Or second, individual members. Individuals can connect and engage with peers in the online GWOPA community. We have created a space that allows for networking and easy communication. Meet future WOP partners, stay up to date on project opportunities, and participate in peer-to-peer learning opportunities.
Sounds great. How can I join?
Simply go to www.gwopa.org and register for free. If you want to know more, you can follow GWOPA on social media and subscribe to the newsletter. Thanks for joining the 4th Global WOPs Congress. We'll see you soon.